Welcome to another UTS Startups Confessions. Fantastic. So my name is Aaron. I'm the Inspiration Manager here at UTS Startups, and every single week at the busiest corner in Sydney, we interview one of our UTS Startups founders and founding community members. And today it is my pleasure to welcome Timothy Yang from Landvalue. Please give a round of applause.
Yeah, thank you. Great to be here.
Wonderful. Now, every single week we interview one of our founders. We do the live stream, so if you're watching this live, hello. If you're watching the recording in the future sometime, hello. And the benefit of being here live for our live audience is in about 20 minutes or so, we're going to turn off the live stream and we're going to open up the audience to ask whatever questions you want. You can ask all of the spicy questions, the questions that we couldn't possibly or deny saying on stream, you can ask in person, okay? So that's going to be it. So Tim, to kick us off, can you tell us just a little bit about what is your startup, Landvalue?
Yeah, so my startup, Landvalue, it's a land valuation tool to find good value properties. So the website is landvalue.au. Feel free to check it out. We recently optimized the website to be mobile friendly and added Queensland properties as well as New South Wales properties.
So when you're looking at the land value to get an idea of good properties, like, are you talking the actual price if you were to purchase the land? Why is this something that you saw a need for?
Yeah, definitely. So for the government, just to introduce, the government has their government assessed land value for taxation purposes, and that's based on the unimproved land value without the buildings on it. And the government every year uses comparison of similar properties in the area, similar size, to compare with the similar land zoning, to compare the value of your property to someone else's property. And they come up with that value every year. So for the purpose of investment, you'd like to know what the value of the land is of your property, because you'd like to know how much you're paying for the building on top of the land. So we use this as a metric to find good value properties. For example, we had a family friend of ours. They purchased an apartment for $650,000, and the land got rezoned from R3 medium density to R4 high density. And a developer bought the whole block, and then they ended up making 1.3 million from their purchase of 650,000.
So because they looked at the land, they were like, okay, there's some interesting insight here. They were able to go, okay, we're going to purchase this, and then sure enough, later on, the developer saw that same value, bought the entire block, and your family friend made, like what, 700K-ish?
Yeah, close to that, yeah.
Nice. I want to talk about Landvalue in a little bit, because I want to hear about how it was developed, how did the initial concept, like some of the details about that. But here at UTS Startups Confessions, we want to dive into the journey. We want to understand who you were before. And so it's O Week this week at UTS as well, and we've been spending a lot of time talking about the Rapid Value Creation program, where you learn a lot of these online skills. And Tim, you've done that program before. So let's rewind before you ever started thinking about doing anything entrepreneurially. What were you like before? And when did you first have your, I'm going to make money or I'm going to make a business thought? Like, what was that starting point for yourself?
Yeah, so when I was a child, I was always interested in computers. Actually, when I was at the supermarket one day, I saw there was a box with, like, I didn't know at the time, but it was a computer game. It was Age of Empires, and there was, like, a little man in bronze with a sword on the box. And I told my dad, oh, we got to buy this. There's something interesting here. And then we took that CD home, and I took it home, and my dad had an old Windows 98 computer in his backyard, like garage, and I took it and installed it myself on the computer. And he's like, he came to the garage one day and he was like, how the hell did you manage to install it all by yourself? And I was playing that game for years from that point. And I got to UTS, and I decided I wanted to study IT. So I studied a Bachelor of Science in IT and I majored in cybersecurity and networking. And that's where I started my career with entrepreneurship. I guess also my father was also an entrepreneur. He has his own business, and I saw he was very successful running his own business, and that sort of gave me some feeling that I wanted to do that for myself one day.
So you had that experience of figuring something out in the backyard, or in the garage on the computer. Like you just got the box, and were like, and your dad was surprised. Okay, your dad was like, how did you figure this out? You know, Windows 98. Cast your mind back. Who was alive back? No, I'm not going to ask that. But you've got this figuring things out. You've got this interest in IT, and then you came and started studying that degree. Like, what was your first dollars that you made, not from a job?
Not from a job.
Yeah.
So basically, in high school and university, I really liked buying and selling things online. So I'd find like some things that are quite undervalued on like eBay, for example. Like I think in university I saw there were some collectible Eagle Moss chess figures, like Marvel and DC chess figures. And I saw someone was selling that for like $300. And I was like thinking to myself, that's like pickup only. So they're not delivering that. So if I was able to buy that and then sell it with delivery, I would be able to get like at least $1,000 for that. So I ended up buying that like chess set figures for $300. We drove all the way to like a rural area, Singleton, to pick it up. And then my dad was very mad about that. And then we took it home, and then I sold most of it for $1,000, and I still have some of it at home actually, yeah.
And then, how did that feel to kind of do that first sort of, here's this value, this is coming up, I think I can sell it. Like, were you worried you were going to lose the $300, or like, how did that sit for you?
Well, I thought there was little risk involved because of the fact that I've seen comparable sales on eBay. Like on eBay, you can go into the sold listings of similar items, and you can see what it's sold for in the past. And then I also looked like those figures, you could piece them out individually and make even more money from it, but I really didn't want to bother with that, so I just sold it as a bulk lot for 2 bulk lots from the $300 set that I bought, yeah.
So straight away I can hear that you had a sense of what the market value was, you had a sense of other people buying and selling this product, and you were like, here's a bargain, it's going to be difficult, it's going to be a pain, I'm going to have to drive, or I'll have to get your father to drive you to Singleton.
Yeah.
And for anyone who doesn't know Singleton, it's like, that's like near Newcastle.
Yeah, it's pretty
like
far.
It's a couple of hours from the city of Sydney. Yeah. So you had that, and that trip cost you whatever it cost you in time, but it netted you, a bunch of money.
A little bit of money, yeah.
Yeah. Now, when we were talking before, you described that you'd actually started before Landvalue, like 4 or 5 different businesses and different ideas. Can you tell us about the first start into that, and when did you, and tell us about the point where you did the rapid value creation course as well?
Yeah, so at the end of university, in the final semester of an IT degree, you actually have a course called Internetworking Project. And while it's not specifically to make a startup, you're supposed to make like a big project and program something that's going to be useful to connect people, or like a marketplace of some sorts, or some sort of innovation you have there. And then for that course, I decided to do a 3D printing marketplace, because I had seen that there was a 3D printing marketplace called 3D Hubs that had just sold for $380 million to Proto Labs. And I believed that there was a gap in the market because nobody was doing it at the time. So I assembled like a group of students, I think it was 5 students, and we made like an MVP during the 6 months at university. And not only did we get like a very good mark, I think we got a high distinction. I took that MVP and I made it into a real startup after I finished university.
Like, just checking, how many of you have wondered if I could make my university assignments into a real business, that would be a pretty cool thing to be able to do? Hands up if you thought that. Yeah. So you actually did that.
Yeah, I actually did that, yeah.
And I just want to get into your head at the time. what are the thoughts that you were going through? Did you have doubts going through your head? Do you have uncertainties? Did you have things? So a lot of people, when they get to that point of, I want to start my own business or I want to learn how to make money, but I'm not sure, there's this cloud of uncertainty which often people don't quite understand. And then every little action that you take takes you one step further, and then you build up that confidence. What was that like for you?
I think I was very naive to begin with, actually.
Yeah.
I was maybe too sure of myself, too sure that it would succeed because I had seen a peer in the market succeed. But then I didn't ask as many questions as perhaps I should have about whether it would succeed. I did validate the idea. I took like a Google Forms and I sent that out to a lot of 3D printers, and I said, if you were able to make money with your 3D printer, would you be interested in doing so? And I think I got, at the end of it, was about 59 responses, and there was about 50 3D printers that were interested in monetizing their printing services, which was a really great result. But I should have thought about the other side, which was the demand side as well, in hindsight, yeah.
So just so I can understand it, you saw that there were going to be a lot of people with 3D printers, a lot of people wanting 3D printing but not wanting to afford paying for a 3D printer, and your job was to kind of connect the dots.
Yeah, exactly,
Okay.
yeah.
And did it end up working? You said you didn't work out the supply, the demand.
Yeah, so we actually had 50 3D printers on the platform from 3 countries, primarily about 47 of them from Australia, but we had 3 overseas. And then we processed more than 100 prints on the platform, and the people who were doing prints, they said like, well, this is great, I'm saving lots of money, because we had like university students who were printing their architecture prints, and they said, oh, I actually got quoted from somewhere else and they told me it would be more than $150, and I got it done for less than $15 from your marketplace. So we were saving people lots of money, but the thing is, because we were saving them so much money, our cut was a lot less. So we were taking only like a 10% cut of that $15. So we were making only $1.50 per print. So we ended up introducing a service fee, which was like a $5 service fee, and then we gave $2.50 to the printer, $2.50 went to us. But then in the end, it wasn't sustainable for us to scale up unless we had external funding, or because of the fact of how much it costs to advertise on Google Ads to get people interested in printing, yeah.
And so after all of that, like, I was really impressed because you had this idea, you went out there, you had a good signal, lots of printers wanted to do that, and then all of a sudden you were discovering, okay, we're not making money, or we're not making enough money, and it's just not working. Can you tell us about some of the businesses that you built straight for, like, subsequently? Like, how did that play out?
Yeah.
Especially after 3D Make didn't work.
Yeah, after 3D Make didn't work, I took the difficult decision to shut that down. We paid off all the printers that had printed with us, and we shut down that business. But I still have the code somewhere in case, like, someday 3D printing becomes much more popular. Really, after that, I took a while to think about different ideas that I knew well. And I started, it was Aussie Discount, which was like, it would be a different version of Oz Bargain. So if you know Oz Bargain, it's like posting your favorite deals and people buy those deals and you just share it for other people to enjoy.
Does everyone, hands up if you've heard of the website Oz Bargain here. Okay, so basically it's just like Tim mentioned, people put like OZBARGAIN.com. Lots of discounts, lots of affiliate links as well. People post affiliate links so that if you get the discount, they get money. So, you know, people are getting sharing value, getting value at the same time.
Well, actually, all the affiliate links are Oz Bargains.
So Oz
that's
Bargain.
why.
So
yeah.
Oz Bargain.
So
yes,
for the unique point of the Aussie Discount was people would be able to share their affiliate links and get half of the money generated from affiliate links directly to them, instead of Oz Bargain taking all the income from affiliate links.
So just to give everyone a sense, right, because affiliate links aren't something that people are too aware of how it works. Like, for a site like Oz Bargain, for any of these deals, like, how much money do you reckon Oz Bargain was making just on the affiliate link clicks and sales?
Well, I think they're making $5 to $10 million a year at the moment, just by the fact that they have 7 full-time staff,
Yep.
Including the 2 founders, and they donate like $50,000, $100,000 to charity every year as well.
Okay, so you've done some analysis, and some
Yeah.
people in the audience just went like, what do you mean? This forum where people just share links is generating that much money. So you decided, let's create a competitor.
Yeah, I did. But I found that Ozbargain is really ingrained in the culture, and they had a moat of all the deals and users, and it was hard to displace them from what they already know, even if you're paying them affiliate commission for the deals that they're sharing. Yeah.
Okay. And then you came along to RVC at some point. How did that, so you were already doing a bunch of things, making money, trying things out. Like, what did that open up for you once you did that program?
Yeah, so RVC is very interesting. They offer like an unorthodox ways of making money compared to startups. So what they really go through is like Etsy, drop shipping, YouTube, making YouTube videos, YouTube automation, buying and selling online businesses, Facebook, TikTok, advertising, all sorts of Amazon KDP, which is like publishing your own books on Amazon. And there's all new ones that are being introduced all the time.
Do you have any favorites, or were there any that you continued after the program that like were successful, that you made money with?
Yeah, so there was one that I continued a year after the program, which was Amazon, it was Etsy, print on demand. So I was making these t-shirts on Etsy print on demand. And when someone would order the shirt, I would send off the order to the print on demand manufacturer, and they would print the design and send it off to the customer. And I think I actually did like a lot of orders actually. One of the orders I did was over 50 t-shirts in one order, which was like more than $2,000. I think in the end, I grossed over $10,000 of sales on Etsy before I shut that down. It turned out there was a lot of competitors, and after the commissions that Etsy takes, which is like 15% marketplace fee, unless you mark up the products by a lot, then there's not much money to be made. Unless you're in a not as competitive market. And I think a few competitors moved into to what I was doing and started like cannibalizing my sales. Yeah.
Now, in these print-on-demand spaces, like there's all of the different trends and there's the specific niches, and part of the challenge is to find that niche which is going to make the money. Are you willing to share what your niche was, or are you still going to keep it safe?
I'm not doing it anymore, so I'm happy to share the niche. Basically, my niche was, the company t-shirts. So people who work for like the big FANG companies, they love the tech t-shirts that they wear. For those t-shirts, it'll be like Amazon, Google, Facebook, like all the people, and I looked into it, all the people that were purchasing my shirts actually legitimately worked for the company that I was making the t-shirts of, and some of them even worked for the marketing departments. Like I got a huge bulk order, like 50 t-shirts. He was actually, I looked him up, he was like the head of marketing of Amazon, and it was probably cheaper to order the t-shirts off me than his real supplier. Yeah.
Okay. I want to come back to Landvalue now and just ask you, where do you see things going? What are the challenges you're working on? Where do you see things going for the future? And then we'll start to progress towards the live audience Q&A in a little bit.
Yeah, so we've had some pretty good traction with Landvalue actually. We launched initially, so I'd like to say like how I started the project, because I'm non-technical, I'm not a programmer, I don't have the skills to make the website myself, and I actually found there was a UTS program that was very useful for me. It was the UTS Software Development Studio, where they let startups in UTS Startups, they give them a team of 5 students for a semester, and they can help build an MVP for your startup and get you something that'll work just to prove your use case, and then you can take that and go and do other stuff. So using that, I was able to launch that on like Facebook and online platforms, and I got more than 2,000 visitors in a week to the website. I launched on like Hacker News as well, the YC Combinator Forum, and I was successful in finding a startup co-founder from Build Club. So, Annie, she runs Build Club, and then she's got all these amazing engineers in there. And one of them was interested in joining me, so I found a co-founder there. And then we are going along and fixing things slowly, and we just added Queensland, of course. I think in the long term, I'd like to add monetization and add more features to the system. But right now it's very reusable, like landvalue.au. If you're interested, have a look. And I think it's definitely a good tool if you're interested in investing in Australian property.
I imagine that there's groups of developers or groups of potential investors out there who are wanting to get that insight, wanting to get that edge. And I think it's a really high percent. Anywhere there's potential for other people to make lots of money is a good place where you could potentially make money as well. So all the best for that. And also a big shout out to Annie from Build Club. Build Club, for everyone who doesn't know, is Sydney, if not Australia's largest community for people building AI software and AI
I think
startups.
it's the world now.
It's the biggest in the world, yeah. Okay. Annie's, I think, in San Francisco this week for just Build Club events. And Sunflower AI, who we've mentioned, and
is one of their
is also
startups,
part of Build Club. Big things coming up for the future. Like, is this the only thing, or do you have a couple of other projects on the side as well? What does the Tim Yang portfolio kind of look like that you can tell us now that we've got this RVC, rapid value creation lens on life a bit?
Yeah, so I have 2 other projects that I'm thinking of doing, can't disclose yet, but they're in the works. RVC has definitely opened up a lot of pathways for me in terms of buying and selling businesses. I'm looking on like Flipper these days for good business opportunities. Of course, not many come along, but I'd say that when evaluating businesses, for me, the most important thing is the search engine presence. So as long as it's search engine optimized, that's something that I look for when buying a business. Like, if you can't get free customers from Google and you're just paying for marketing all the time, it's much harder to scale the business. Yeah.
Final thing is, if you were to start and give 2 or 3 top pieces of advice to you 5 years ago when you started all of this that would accelerate you, or if you would give the same advice to someone starting today, what things would you tell them to look out for, or what advice would you give them?
Yeah, so the first good advice would be just validate the idea. So if you have an idea for a startup or even like a side hustle, I would validate that the idea is good and you will have customers for that idea before you start building an MVP. The second point would be, when you're building an MVP, I would limit building the MVP to 6 months, and then I would launch as early as possible. So there's a startup mantra that's very important, which is like, if you're not embarrassed by your first MVP, then you've launched too late. So if you look at like Airbnb, they didn't even have booking. They didn't even have booking or payment features on the website in their first MVP. So, and look how far they've come these days. Yeah. And the third would be just Google is one of the most important things. It's how people find your business, and it's how you get free marketing. Your presence on Google will dictate whether you have a business or not. And like, even before that, like if you don't have a website, you don't really have a business. Yeah.
Okay, so we're going to dive into the in-person live Q&A for everyone who's joined us online. Thanks for joining us. And Tim, where can they find Landvalue once more?
It's landvalue.au.
Wonderful. So please join me in thanking Tim, and we'll conclude here and go to the live Q&A. Thank you very much.